Headlines for the day with in-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Well, welcome to the Morning Crossfire. If you are just joining us, we started from 6 a.m. It's time to take a look at the stories making it to the front pages. So welcome to the show and this segment. On the show, I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.
Let's remind you that we're live on Facebook. We're also up there on YouTube, on Twitter. You can watch us live and leave us your comment. Anywhere you want the world, take us along with you. You can listen on our website live to all of our shows at nigeriainfo.fm. You can also leave us your comment on all of our social medias. We'll read your comment as soon as we can. Rotimi Sankore is joining us on the show today. Rotimi.
Morning.
Good morning. All right, people. If you are ready, we are. Let's take our first story from The Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is our media partner. El Zazaki, unable to get treatment in India, returns today. Banner headline on this day newspaper: to avoid legal ambush in India, federal government returns El Zazaki to Nigeria. Arrives today. IMN says cleric coming back for personal safety. Front page of the Nation. El Zazaki back after shunning treatment in India. Banner headline on the Daily Independent: El Zazaki rejects strange doctors, returns home. He may die any moment from lead poisoning, says daughter.
From Daily Trust, Zagzaki wife returned to Nigeria after stalemate. Front page Daily Trust newspaper. Vanguard: Zagzaki rejects treatments in Indian hospital, returns home. That's just above the nameplate. Vanguard. Daily Sun newspaper: Zagzaki back from India without treatment. The writer: my father is on verge of death. Daughter.
So, I don't know, but one report is saying the government is asking him to come back. These days says to avoid legal ambush in India, federal government returns El Zazaki. Other papers are saying he's decided to come back. So we don't know
what's the story
decision.
really? With different narratives.
I think sadly, when it comes to the IMN and Zaki, a lot of the headlines are influenced by how people perceive
the situation,
and some urban myth. Now, one of those urban myths is that Zaki and the IMN do not recognize the Nigerian government. I've never met Zaki. I don't have anything in common with Zaki. In fact, maybe some people don't even want to know my opinion on some of the things I have heard that Zaki said.
Right.
But Zaki is entitled to his full human rights. You don't have to like anybody to understand that human rights is
fundamental.
Human rights. Yeah, you can't mess about.
You don't have to like anybody.
So let us look at what we know are the facts. Femi Falana, his lawyer, a well-respected constitutional lawyer, one of Nigeria's most senior constitutional lawyers, senior advocates. I've known him for 30 years or so. I can vouch for him to the extent that my vouching carries any weight. Has said, if somebody does not recognize the government, the person will not take the government to court on several occasions and win and secure judgment against the government. So first of all, people can set aside that urban myth. Secondly, from what I know of medical treatment, if he has not been allowed to be treated by a doctor of his choice, there is something wrong there.
Remember, he's paying for his treatment.
Yes.
The government is not paying.
Yes.
But let me read you this twist on the front page of this day newspaper. So this is a headline that reads, to avoid legal ambush in India, federal government returns El Zazaki to Nigeria. Here's the story. These are reports with concrete evidence by the National Intelligence Agency that the leader of the IMN, Sheikh Ibrahim El Zazaki, had secured the services of some human rights lawyers in India to file a court case today to restrain the government from bringing him and his wife back to Nigeria. The federal government, with the support of the Indian government yesterday afternoon, moved to return the cleric and his wife Zinat to Nigeria. Authoritative presidency sources told This Day last night that the federal government had to move fast to avoid the legal ambush, since El Zazaki's plot only confirmed the intelligence agency's initial information that the cleric's insistence on foreign medical treatment was a decoy to escape prosecution.
Okay, so we are back to this matter.
Prosecution in the country. Exactly.
So we are back to this matter of perception.
Yeah.
And whether you think you like Zaki or not. So first of all, it was not an insistence by Zaki. The agreement to treat him abroad was due to assessment by several teams of doctors, including government-appointed doctors. So I don't know where that person, either in the NIA or the person reporting the NIA, came to that conclusion that it was due to his insistence. There were several sets of doctors, more than a dozen.
Right.
All came to the agreement that the man is suffering from XYZ and that treatment is best provided in a hospital outside Nigeria. So there was no insistence by Zaki. One of the things I don't like is very tardy reporting.
Yeah.
So the other thing is this. If you are in a hospital, you are entitled to a certain amount of privacy. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether he had a private room, whether the hospital provided him with a private room, whether the security people with him allowed him to have that amount of privacy, I don't know. But if he was not and he protested, he is within his rights. You can post people outside the door. Mm. In extreme circumstances, you can even post one person inside the room and the rest are outside. Of course, you can't follow him into the bathroom and toilet I mean, you know.
Well, some of our callers, we had this conversation on the Chit Chat today. I'm sure you listened. One of the callers particularly said that he was at a hospital where the police were watching a suspect. And so he believes they shouldn't allow him to move about freely. That this suspect went into the toilet, broke some taps or stuff, and then injured himself, almost died. And it became a very tough issue.
Well, seriously, you can't prevent people from committing suicide.
But it's criminal to commit suicide.
Well, look, you will take reasonable measure, but to the extent that you are not going to enter inside the bathroom and sit with him when he's having the bath, and sit with him when he's poo-pooing, and all those things. To that extent, if anybody reasonably has a long-term plan, you know, I mean, there's just some things we should not be discussing here.
And this is where intelligence should come in. You should be able to anticipate.
Well, intelligence has nothing to do with it. Didn't we discuss it here before he left, that there are more than, legally speaking, and this is something I know from my professional work and training, there is more than enough for him to seek asylum.
Right.
If I was outside Nigeria, I didn't know Zaki. I'm looking at it in another country, and you ask for my professional assessment. If you burn down somebody's compound and raise the compound to the ground, kill over 300 followers,
and 6 of his children,
and bury them summarily without any investigation, nobody is prosecuted for it, kill 6 of his children, detain him against the courts, several court orders. Court orders have said pay him compensation, you ignore it. Any or all of those boxes tick legal claim for asylum. Anybody should go and read it up. The conditions for seeking asylum are on the website.
Right.
Just look at the relevant UN agency. So you don't need any intelligence. I mean, I'll be surprised if anybody in the NIA says that this was due to intelligence assessment. They should know. They deal with international intelligence.
Yeah, that's what they are saying.
But they don't need intelligence now.
But they are an intelligence
agency. What I'm saying is that one person on a desk can tell them this. You don't need any investigation.
All right.
The desk officer can tell them that the man has more than enough
But they want to make sure this does not happen.
Asylum.
They want to ensure he does not seek asylum.
This question, I'm just trying to say that this, the narrative is too murky. This idea that it was to avoid legal ambush, I'm telling you, they should have known this before he stepped on the plane.
Right.
Because any of those grounds listed is more than enough to seek for asylum in another country.
This is developing. We're hearing different sides of this story. Who asked who to come back? But of course, we'll have more details as the day progresses. Let's see this next story on the front page of This Day. Buhari directs ICPC to prosecute Obonobla. This was on the news yesterday. Nigeria is losing trillions to corruption, say forensic experts allege rising cases of fraud and cybercrime. EFCC moves to quiz suspended Obonobla. Also on The Nation, EFCC seizes Oyoita's travel documents. And here on the Daily Independent newspaper, why Obonobla is in trouble with presidency.
From Daily Trust newspaper, alleged 3 billion naira fraud apprehension in civil service over Oyoita's investigation. Now to the Vanguard newspaper. Obonobla sack. SGF takes over presidential panel as ICPC drafts charges from the Vanguard newspaper. Rotimi, we have two officials, key officials of this administration, facing one form of investigation or the other, particularly over corruption allegation. Oyoita and Obonobla.
Well, if they are alleged and they are being investigated, that's what the government should be doing. What else can we say there? I mean, some people may say that in the case of Obonobla, it has taken too long because the allegations have been there like forever, not even several months, like forever and ever. So some people may even say that the government is moving slowly, but let's not forget they are innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
If the investigation is done and nothing is found, they are entitled to return to their jobs. If they are found guilty and there is more than reasonable evidence, then, I mean, tough luck to them. They got themselves into it. But they are innocent until... I don't like all this trial by media type of
just
thing.
prosecute, put your evidence together and
we have seen too much of it. But what makes this significant is the grass cutting thing where there was more than enough reasonable evidence and the president did not act until the vice president, who was acting president, acted on the matter.
Right.
And honestly, till today, I have no idea what has happened to that man.
Well, now EFCC is looking into it. ICPC also.
No, the grass cutter guy.
Oh, well.
We don't know. We don't know.
So many things we don't know. And that was a very embarrassing situation.
See, if you are a private citizen, largely what you do is your business. As far as you don't willy-nilly go out of your way to go and commit some crime. Otherwise, if you are a private citizen, what you do is... But once you are a public official, the standards are there. You can't be using your public office to be awarding yourself contract which you are not entitled or qualified to implement, and inflating the money. I mean, that's why that grass cutter thing is of seriously. But I mean, let's leave that. I'm interested on talking on the food security thing.
Okay, let's see another story here on the Daily Independent. New investors to take over power sector soon. Vice President says
story of Nigeria.
On The Nation. Vice President says installed power capacity is now 13,427 megawatts. How about that?
All right. From Daily Trust
That's
newspaper,
installed though, not the light you actually have.
Oshimbajo support recapitalization of discos. That's from Daily Trust newspaper. From Vanguard newspaper, you have failed. Oshimbajo blasts discos.
They have.
Oshimbajo doesn't have to say the disco.
Is that news?
Even the government itself, there is question mark. Look, this light matter since the time of Gowon. So to be fair to the Buhari government, the light matter did not start under this current government. But to the extent that Buhari has been part of the system for many, many years, people mustn't forget, he has been part of Federal Executive Council, for instance. He was the last military governor administrator of Northeast Nigeria. He was the first military governor of Borno State. Under military regime, I believe he was army secretary, which is a very key position. He was Minister of Petroleum when Obasanjo was military head of state, etc., etc. So, to that extent, he should have a solution to things. But the light problem did not start under this current APC watch. Honestly, since go one time. Since I was...
Someone has to solve it.
Yes, but I'm just saying that, to be fair, the light problem didn't start.
Yeah,
what they shouldn't do is be overstating their solution to it, because the way they are going now, they are almost sure not to succeed. Because the only way to solve this problem is to include massive renewable energy in their policy. Bangladesh is showing the way. There is a government policy to put thousands of people on solar power every year, which includes government investing in the manufacturing of the
panel.
Right, let's see another story. Federal government begins process to review revenue sharing formula. This story is okay. FMAFC inaugurates committee to review revenue allocation formula. I thought that we were talking about salaries and
food. That's what concerns everybody.
Daily Sun here. FG
There's
sets
no
up
food story on
committee.
Guardian banner headline.
Oh, the food import.
Yes.
We've been talking about this.
No, that is what concerns everybody every day. Food. Food. The federal government is wrong. Nigeria is not food secure.
But we had a full...
Yes.
Okay, so Rotimi wants to give us a piece of his mind on it. Let me read the headline so you can go. So here's the headline. This is what he wants to talk about. Confusion over Buhari's stance on food imports, CBN's autonomy.
That's a banner headline. It's not my personal interest.
No, right now it is. Nation shorts on rice, maize, sugar, wheat. Others say expert.
No, but it's a banner headline from the Guardian.
Let me read all the riders. The riders here, another rider, policy is anti-people, ill-timed, PDP declares. Manufacturers, OPS urge caution, wants codes for items. Why presidency might be compromising Apex Bank. These are the banner. This is the headline on the Guardian newspaper. If you missed our full hour conversation on this yesterday, it's up on YouTube, also on Facebook.
So set aside what PDP said for a moment. Sometimes PDP complains even when there is no valid ground to complain. That's what opposition parties do. This matter, it can lead to serious problems for the entire country. Food matter. So you see, all the stakeholders are beginning to complain now that statement is not well thought out. Every single stakeholder is complaining. The president needs to look at this thing again. If he had waited 1 week for the ministers to be allotted portfolio and proposed it at the federal, they would have advised him otherwise. So I started looking into the thing, like any good researcher should, and if you know what you are looking for. So I looked at the latest National Nutrition and Health Survey, which was released at the end of 2018, just a few months ago. That's a government-driven survey. It was signed by the last Minister of Health, Isaac Adewuni. The malnutrition in Nigeria is regarded as high at 32%, according to that survey. It is highest in the Northwest at, I believe, 52%. Lowest in the Southeast. The state in which that malnutrition is highest in the country is Katsina State at 58%. Is lowest in Anambra at 11%. And that level of malnutrition is regarded as critical by the World Health Organization. If there is that level of malnutrition in a country, the country is not food secure.
Yeah.
And it is really, really important. If this thing leads, look, all of us I believe, should always want a government to do well.
Yeah, but yesterday when we had this conversation,
it is in the interest of ordinary people.
When we had this conversation, we had a full house yesterday. We had an economist, we had a food expert, and we had an agriculturist.
They didn't quote the National Health and Nutrition Survey.
It doesn't matter.
It matters because that is a government document.
They made facts, and I was going to tell you that one of the things some of them believe, and I think this idea might be good, that it might help us to focus on growing our local production.
But not at the cost of starving the nation now.
But what the government has done is not to ban food importation. It's to say that the CBN...
It is as well as a ban, because somebody from the Manufacturers Association was making a point on it, that if the government says officially no forex for an item, first of all, at that scale, you can't go to the Malam under the tree in one hotel
get it
and go and buy 100 million naira worth of
you can't.
So it's as well as saying a ban. Secondly, stakeholders are pointing out that if the government says no forex to import an item, and you even manage to get the forex at the scale of hundreds of millions of dollars, you are going to be investigated for sabotage, and that is standard government practice. So what they are saying is, don't import. Now, the reason why I said that the Nutrition and Health Survey is important is that is the government's data. It's not opinion. The government, very rarely do you get data on things in Nigeria, but this is the government's own data, and the government has ignored it.
Well, the president said, I was shocked. Like I said yesterday, I somehow felt like it was a Salah mood thing. Everyone had food, and the president just looked around and said, oh, we've achieved food security. Because Nigeria is still one of the largest importers of rice.
This matter is more serious. And look, by the way, it's also important to point out.
Yeah. While
it is good to promote food sufficiency, there are other ways to do it. So let me give an example of something else that I found out.
Very quickly.
Singapore, for a long time, has been considered as one of the most food secure countries in the world. But guess what? They import up to 90% of their food.
Yeah. Like mentioned on the show yesterday, there's hardly a country that absolutely does not import anything. Yeah. But guys, thank you all for joining the conversation on the front pages today. Rotimi Sankore has been here with us. And when we come back, we'll have a full conversation on destitute homes in Nigeria. We have a reporter standing by in one destitute home right here in the center of Lagos. And we'll be speaking to the people, the residents. About 10,000 people make up that destitute home. So join us for this conversation and more at 8 o'clock just after the break. Right. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.